Hey, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Paul.
And I am Patrick.
And how you doing, Patrick? How you
I'm
doing?
doing very good, my friend, because we are here aside and we're here to talk about monkeys, apes, simians, everything but the Kong. In fact, Kong might even show up. I am a man who enjoys a monkey. I really am. I enjoy an ape, a monkey. I enjoy when I'm anywhere near zoos. First thing I'll do is go and find something that's going to make me probably cry because I look at it and I see myself in there. That's always the orangutan. Always, every single time. I'm like, oh, I can see it thinking, and it's probably smarter than me. Paul, I'm very excited to talk about this. Very, very excited.
Yeah, so let's just if you don't know the channel, we're Hear Us Out. I'm Patrick, or I'm Paul. You're Patrick. We talk about entertainment, movie, and TV shows, all commentary and everything like that. Today, we're going to be talking about, Planet of the Apes, the new reboot franchise that started with Rise, which has continued with Dawn, continued with War, and now the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is the newest installment in the thing. This is not to be mistaken with the Mark Wahlberg one or the
Yeah.
original set, which is we may be talking about the Mark Wahlberg slash Tim Burton slash ooh, uh,
Estella
ooh,
Warren, I think was her name. She did like two movies. That was one of them.
yeah, like but yeah, so we'll be talking. It's the fact that the reason that we're talking about it is because the new reboots are actually just this kind of interesting, I guess, conundrum or enigma in the sense of they're just consistently good movies. One of the best kind of consistent franchise, which is an unusual kind of thing to talk about in the current day kind of market of franchises. Because if you think about it, we've got quite a few out there, especially ones that are kind of either coming back or have ended recently. Kind of thing. Like we have like one of the most famous ones of current days, John Wick, the John Wick series
Mhm.
kind of franchises. And like, although it is being incredibly well received all the way through, which is it does have some hiccups in the middle, and
You're very kind with your hiccups. Because John Wick was a great movie. And John Wick Chapter 2 was quite good. Or I quite enjoyed it. Then I believe they called it Parabellum, John Wick
yep,
3. I thought that was muck, I'll be honest. I'm going to try and use euphemisms for bad. I thought it was pretty bad. I know everybody there's a scale of people who are like, ah, you're being too harsh to people who would be even harsher than me. But I do think that I'm at least in there with the majority of people that thought it was a disappointment.
oh
Um,
yeah.
and John Wick 4, I still don't know how I feel about. But as far as trilogies go, I thought Parabellum nearly killed it for me.
Well, no, that's the thing, and like, but it's weird because in the franchise of the reboot of the Planet of the Apes, which I have the posters up for, which is we can kind of like even split these, which is the kind of Caesar leader of the apes kind of rise and stuff like that. Of the apes is the first kind of three films, which is Rise, Dawn, and War, which is and then Kingdom, which is the new entry that came out recently enough. Um, is the kind of fourth one, which is kind of as we said, setting up a new trilogy or possibly new kind of group of films, which will hope tie in maybe some of the original kind of ones. Um,
Yeah.
do you remember the names of the ones?
The originals.
Yeah,
Well, it was Planet of the Apes.
yeah.
Uh, Beneath Planet of the Apes was the third one. It was Return to the Planet of the Apes was the second one.
So Beneath is the second one.
Oh, Beneath was the second.
Yeah.
Then there's Return. Then there's it's come up on my screen over here. I can cheat now. If my eyesight was better, I would cheat. Um, yeah, you'll have to remind me. What was the
So I
fourth?
think it's Escape, and then it's Conquest, and then the final chapter, which is Battle for kind of thing. So there's the Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and then Battle of the Planet of the Apes.
That's right.
So
Then it got progressively weirder in places there.
this
Time travel was always a part of it. I was about to say, and there's even more time travel, but time travel kind of technically was always part of Planet of the Apes.
yeah, it is slightly a time travel type movie,
Never
which
gets
is
talked about when we talk about time travel movies, but when you consider it properly, The Apes is a time travel franchise in a literal sense.
that is true.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Well, we've now
We've
have
we've
to add
now
it to possible franchise, I guess.
we've now got to go and fix a whole load of lists we've made. Damn it!
That'll be fun. Um, Though yet in the current reboot there is no time travel, which goes as far as we know.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's progressing through time in a normal sense. Yeah.
yes, it is time travel in the most boring version of time travel. Yes, kind of thing. But yeah, it's just consistently good. Because when we started looking into it further, which is the Rotten Tomato scores are even kind of good in the sense that like they don't fall below a 77 in either score kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So can I call this out then, Paul? Everybody, just I'm going to try and represent everybody, even those of you out there who would not want me to represent you. I'm going to give it a go right now. I think when people think of babes, they think of the Wicks, the MCUs, DCEUs, DCUs, whatever else. They'll think of just about everything before they'll get to, oh yeah, and there's the Planet of the Apes franchise. Yet, and you called out, was that the lowest score
Yeah,
that an audience Rotten Tomatoes has
yeah,
for any of the new trilogy or new quartet? Like, okay, so what are we looking at there? 82, 91, 94, 81. It is incredible to be this well received, yet this often overlooked.
yeah. Like it's
So
just
odd.
yeah, it's a bizarre kind of thing. Like it's just unusual because I was like when this came up in conversation, it was more kind of like, oh yeah, that franchise that exists, kind of thing. And it's just like, yeah, it's consistently good. Like I can't name one of the films that I haven't really enjoyed. Like Kobe right now is also making a ridiculous comeback in meme sense.
Oh, right. Okay. So like it does tap the, and it's not like nobody's going to see them either. These are not indie darlings that people are going, oh great, I loved it, but only 16 of us saw it. Dawn was the first one, right? Or Rise. Is it
Rise was
Dawn
the
or
first
Rise?
one.
So we've got 481.8 million box office. So nearly a $500 million movie back then. That's a few years ago. Then you've got 710, the the next one up. Yeah, I think I've done that in the right order. Dawn. So then you've got another nearly 500, and right now, what are we tracking at? 250 for the latest movie that has only just been out. What, a week and a half or a little bit more. So Paul, people loved them.
Yeah,
The critics seem to agree.
yeah,
They're making the money. Um, Personally, for me, having the last one yet, whatever about the James Franco performances, etc., in the first movie that I was like, oh, I don't know. Andy Serkis, Andy Serkis deserves a lot of credit for bringing Caesar to life, but also I think the director and the kind of the visionary behind this deserves a lot of credit for going, you know what? I'm going to take that character. I'm going to take what Andy Serkis and his performance is doing, and I'm going to let this be a character that will grow and breathe over three movies to become iconic enough that I know the latest movie has moved on several hundred years, but I know that there's still the Caesar lore. And for me, when you say Planet of the Apes, it used to be, Dr. Zaius. It
yeah.
used to be, a few Simpsons gags here and there. But now I do think Caesar, apes together strong. Yeah, it has permeated into me. And if you'd asked me, 2 days ago, are you a Planet of the Apes fan? I would have been like, yeah, I don't know, probably. I watched them. But since we decided to do this and you brought this up, my brain has been going, actually, I really bloody like those movies. So I am an example of somebody who never thinks of them, never mentions them, but really fucking likes them.
It's a baffling, confusing kind of like weird kind of Doctor Who perspective like fields thing going on with them because like I did we so once War came out, um, the gap between the which was Kingdom and War is considerable, but then like we never talked about them since War
Nope.
kind of thing, and then Kingdom hits and we only talk about Kingdom. We're only just like yeah that was it Freya Allen is in it from The Witcher? She's one of the new entries, which goes in the characters. Uh, I'm like I can't remember his name. I'm really sorry. Which
I
is
I can't help you because I can't see your screen, unfortunately, yet. So,
which is I should have looked this up before I had a look at this. Which is but Owen Tong. He plays the new main ape in it, which is just it's an incredible character. I really enjoyed the character. And then Peter Mayun, he's in Orville as
mm,
which is one of the commanders. Like it's just consistent. Kevin Dunhart is the main bad guy. Like it's just a consistently great cast going through it. But like I was just like, oh yeah, this is a really good cast. And then I started looking back on the other ones, and I was just like, wait, no, they're all consistently good casts, like
yes.
as well. Like obviously not, I wouldn't say massive names.
Well, Paul, you can correct me if I'm wrong. John Lithgow in the first movie played James Franco's dad, the Alzheimer's patient who he tried to administer the drug to his dad to help. John Lithgow is a legendary actor. Then in the second movie, we got Gary Oldman, I think.
Yeah,
And if I have to say that Gary Oldman's a legendary actor, I don't ever want to have to bother speaking on the internet again. Everybody knows it. And then, to be fair, in War, Woody Harrelson put himself right into that kind of Colonel Kurtz Apocalypse Now style, loon. And I think, and this is another reason why it's so stupid that I've kind of watched these movies and forget them. I think it's one of Woody Harrelson's more impactful performances that involves any action at all. Because Woody Harrelson's usually he has his big moments in things like True Detective, but you put him in this, let him play a bit more, and I thought he was very, very, very good and engaging, but only because you have moments like Andy Serkis's Caesar, saying, "You spoiler alert, you killed my family," and you've got a real sense of that kind of again the Apocalypse Now interview face off. Like we're talking about amazing actors comparing some of these things to other amazing movies. Yet, up until a second ago, I forgot John Lithgow was in the first one. If you hadn't been bringing up the cast,
yeah, like isn't it? It's
why? Is there a pill that they give you when you go into the cinema to watch these things? Do they gas the room?
I have no idea, and I don't understand why people aren't talking more about it. Because as we've had a difficult kind of run of franchises, especially now that they're kind of nostalgia digging. Kind of
Mm.
thing. We've like recently enough, like just today, we had the new Axel Foley Beverly Hills Cop trailer come out. We have an extended Beetlejuice movie come out. Like as far as nostalgia digging, this one goes further back than that with the original kind of
Yeah.
like
I,
2001 Mark Wahlberg's one is like was probably the latest before the reboot, like kind of thing. So it's just this weird kind of like just
well,
everybody's
the
forgotten about.
Apes and James Bond are about the only franchises that are older than I am, if you know what I mean. Like there are very few that go back that far.
Yeah, like and because we had recently enough the
Excuse
like well. Oh, I'll choose one of these ones. So recently enough, just to add kind of things, the Godzilla versus Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire like movie came out. The Godzilla films, like I can see you stretching because you're going to start on it. The
No.
Godzilla Kong, the monster universe thing has not been doing well. Like it. Don't get me wrong, great popcorn movies. Really enjoyed them as a popcorn movie and stuff like that. Not in any way going to review them in any kind of better way than they have with the ape
You're
movies.
much kinder to them than I am. They've been pissing me off over and over. Like we did a whole Godzilla episode because I was so excited that Godzilla minus one might turn out to be even mediocre, and it turned out to be my favorite movie of last year. It's exceptional,
Yeah.
and it reinforces my thinking that the Kong movies, the Godzilla movies, they've Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla X Kong, whatever. Like they've all just the Monarch TV show was better than any of the movies they've done. That's not a good sign.
No, like yeah, because we had Godzilla, which we all have a problem with because it doesn't have enough Godzilla in it. We have Skull Island, which as much as Brie Larson, which goes Tom Hiddleston and
Sam Jackson, wasn't it?
Samuel Jackson, but also CK is it CK Kelly? He's in Step Brothers and stuff like that.
Oh, John C. Riley.
Yeah, John C. Riley. He's like, that's it. It was a
Oh,
good
a
cast, but
stacked
none of them
cast. Like
could.
they wasted Skull Island wasted time of talented people.
Yeah, John Goodman as well,
John Goodman as well,
kind of thing.
exactly.
Then we went on to Kong versus Godzilla, or sorry, King of the Monsters and stuff like that. Like it's a continuous kind of like, yeah, they're good popcorn movies. You're going to enjoy them. They're like, they're fun and stuff like
They're
that.
not
But
good enough.
then yeah, that's the thing, is they're not good enough. Like we haven't also had the good chance in recently as well with the Ghostbusters franchise as well, because
Mm.
we obviously we have the first two, which are brilliant, kind of thing, with the original cast. 2016 Ghostbusters, although a terrible movie, not for the reasons that terrible people think.
It
And then
was
we had
just a terrible
Afterlife.
movie. Yeah.
We had
And Afterlife
Afterlife.
was like, oh, this could be good. Look,
Yeah.
we're back, perhaps.
Yeah, and then Frozen Kingdom came along and decided to show what, three movies in one. Um,
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing. Like I'm the biggest apologist for Ghostbusters because it's so close to my heart, but I can't put up a good defense for Frozen Empire, really. I think it felt like somebody with a spoon at the bottom of an empty jam jar trying to get the last remnants. It was hollow, empty, and shit.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, that's fine. And then we have the Matrix series,
Hey.
which
Ugh.
not like even before the fourth one was already going downhill, kind of
Oh
thing.
God, yeah.
And then we have a fifth movie coming out as well. Like it's just interesting that we're looking at these franchises, like we're continuously looking at these franchises, and we're going, yeah, these are some of my favorite franchises, but the Planet of the Apes franchise is just still left behind. Star Wars, Star Trek, they're all get like Star Wars has currently got the Acolyte kind of TV show. Like it's moving on to TV shows now to try save its
Yeah.
bacon, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Star Trek, after what you call it, some of the TV shows are still going on. Discovery's not great, but like it's just so we're going back to a movie kind of thing. Because I think a director's been announced for the new Star Trek movie, but it's just like,
Hmm.
but that doesn't have great entries of movies in it either, and it's just baffling how we. Like, I know what people are going to say. They're going to be just like, yeah, but the Mark Wahlberg one is definitely their kind of downside. And it's just like, yeah, but within the new reboots of these franchises,
Yeah.
these are consistently good. Whereas Matrix 4 has been terrible. The entire Godzilla Monsterverse has not been good. John Wick has Parabellum. Ghostbusters
Hmm.
has the
There's a
Frozen
couple of
Kingdom.
duffers in there. Yeah.
But if you even forget the 2016 one, Afterlife is the first reboot, and then Kingdom is the second interest in the reboot series, and it's awful.
Yeah,
Like,
it's true. It's true. You can pick any modern franchise. So let's discount the Mark Wahlberg. Let's just start the clock after the Mark Wahlberg one
hmm,
and say, well, what franchises have come along? And you've mentioned a few already. Any that you find, and I include before anybody says it, I absolutely include the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DCEU in this because they both have enough dodgy entries to lose in a maintained quality fight. Because if you take everything they've done, don't get me wrong, if you pick and choose your Marvel phases, you can get a very high score across, 5 or 6 movies, 7 or 8 movies. To be fair to them, probably even over 10 movies, which is really impressive. But yet, Planet of the Apes, pound for pound, banana for banana, the apes are they're kicking ass at a fairly high level. I'm not going to pick any of the Apes movies as my favorite movies of all time. I'm not.
no,
And I'm not going to say they're the greatest stories ever told in the greatest way ever, but they're I am pissed off at myself at how unfair I am to them that I don't give them more of a chance in thought or conversation because I actually think the stories have been relatively strong. That's the wrong way of putting it. They've been better than relatively strong. I think they've been relatively engaging as well as quite strong. I have issues with every single one of the movies I've seen so far. But compared to Quantum Mania, do I have issues with them? No, not. We're not talking issues in the kind of I have issues way. It's more, this is really good, but could be better.
yeah, like that's it's. it's just about like an interesting kind of fact because like the acting has been all the way good. The plots are interesting, like interesting and compelling kind of stories. Like each of them, like the first three are a nice contained story of Caesar. The next one is as a new entry within that. But they're all an Arvor arc kind of history of what's going on within this Planet of the Apes world kind of
Yeah,
thing, which is a good kind of all rounder thing because like franchises very have that difficulty to be able to kind of have a trilogy in the middle, have a trilogy going on, then finishing that trilogy and then moving on to essentially a self-contained story that's going to kick on the next trilogy, but them all being consistently telling the story of a world and also all consistently being really nice plots and which are engaging and interesting, and the
yep.
characters and everything like that are very like are compelling, and it's just a weird kind of like they've been able to get like above average, like not even above average, hitting 75% on all of these movies continuously is just an absolute triumph for the franchise, and it's just
Yeah.
weird that we don't talk about it more. um but yeah, well,
If I hadn't been unwell, I would have gone to see this in the cinema. It's the only reason I haven't seen this latest one yet. But I'd be lying if I said I was waiting for it to come out. That's the thing. An Apes movie has to show up in the cinema for me to go, oh God, there it is. I better go and see it because I actually like those. 10 minutes before seeing the poster or the trailer or the reminder, I will not have thought about them since the last time I watched the movie. So I'm thinking maybe the subliminal messaging in them that is somehow hypnotizing me. I don't understand.
yeah, I know. We'll talk more about the Planet of the Apes, which is after these short ad. So see you in a second.
See you then.
You obviously are like two people talking about movies, or you wouldn't even be seeing this ad. Well, don't tell anyone. But Hear Us Out isn't the only choice. You should check out our friends over at It Takes Two podcast. It's a podcast where two people take two films with the same plot or premise, watch and discuss them. Films like Gremlins and Critters, or The Truman Show on EdTV. Lisa and Nick don't stop there though. They get creative and compare some unexpected movies. Some that you don't see the connection until you realise that they can be described in the same way. They launch new episodes every second Tuesday, or Monday if you're in New Zealand. Find them on your favourite podcast service, or check the link in our description down below. That's It Takes Two podcast. Tell them Hear Us Out sent you.
Hey, welcome back. We're Here Us Out, which is that was a It Takes Two, one of our friends of the show. Also in the chat right now is Lisa of It Takes Two.
Yeah. Do you want to actually call out that message? Because I thought it was nice. I only spotted that as the ad was playing.
Yeah, so It Takes Two, which is you guys are in sync with us. Takes Two, which we rewatched Rise this week after talking about it last week. Which is we'll get around to watching the other ones soon. Yeah, so they just brought out an episode. I think it is an episode about the original Planet of the Apes and the Charlton Heston one, and Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I think they're comparing essentially the two first entries within the reboot and the original series. But yeah, which is that's the thing. So the reboots, Rise, Dawn, War, and which is Kingdom. Um, interesting.
Well,
Hmm?
I can tell you what I think the most interesting thing about them is they've got the Godzilla Kong factor of hey, people will treat them like a blockbuster, but it's not what you actually get. Yet nobody comes away going, "Oh, damn it, I didn't." There wasn't the people knocking over buildings. There's enough action to legitimize and to make people feel that they're not hard done by. But I think the key thing about the stories they've been telling has been the key since the start of the Planet of the Apes. You're taking a look at mankind, and I'm using the word mankind to try and capture the idea of humanity, not for humans. The what power can do to people, or in this case, apes or people. Let's just consider us all apes. And then you're looking at the power shifts, what it means to be uh, the one on top, let's say, what it means to be the dominant species, and where the prejudice lies in that, and how we view animals, how it, like at every point in all of the movies, they don't have to shove it down your throat. It's implicit in the stories they're telling that you have to start thinking about those things. And they are such universal topics that don't get covered that much in this way, that I think that's why people, when they come out and they're asked, how would you rate this movie? They go, yeah, my cinema score for this one's quite high. My Rotten Tomatoes, review is going to be, that was quite good. Because they may have gone in thinking, I want to see apes swinging around the Golden Gate Bridge and jumping on helicopters and all sorts of stuff. But what they're actually getting while they're watching it is, it's definitely a few layers deeper than Skull Island.
Yeah, like that's yeah, it does. Each of the themes within the movies have very much kind of connotations about how we treat, like, in our own history, other people's as well. In the sense of, like, if you were to replace, the only reason that we make this makes it more interesting, than having, like, just another group of people. And it is the fact is that, like, apes have another kind of like, I guess, social kind of construct within their own beings, kind of thing, like, the whole touching hands for respect and stuff like that, eye contact and stuff. They all have these kind of, like, inbuilt social community kind of behaviors. But so, like, telling essentially a constrained, controlled group of, like, I'm gonna say people in the sense of apes, coming to terms with their surroundings and stuff, and becoming kind of self-aware and stuff. Like, you could replace this. You could replace the apes in two ways. You could do it in a sense of just another group of people who are learning kind of just more about the world and more about technology and stuff like that because they've been kept in the dark. Or you could even replace it with AI, with robots. This could be, like, each of these stories could literally be just replaced, and
Absolutely.
and as you say, it's essentially a dedication about the theme is essentially, what does essentially becoming more dominant mean in an ethical and morality kind of sense to a group of people who have been controlled and which is
Subjugated.
yeah, kind of thing. So just to do a correction quickly, which is It Takes Two did the Mark Wahlberg and the original Planet of the Apes kind of series. I see it in there in the chat.
Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, a little bit of trivia for all of you out there who are like, why does Patrick know the name Estella Warren, who was the female lead in the Mark Wahlberg Planet of the Apes? Well, it's because when I said she did, I think, 2 movies, the other one was Driven, which was Sylvester Stallone's IndyCar movie. And I remember thinking, wow, she's getting cast in everything right now, even though she was only famous from Perfume Ad. And Driven was a bad movie, Paul. Bad movie. Bad dog. Bad movie. But her performance, let me put it this way, there's a reason we don't talk about her today. She was a very attractive lady who was in 2 very bad movies. Although the Mark Wahlberg, I still have a soft spot for their take on Planet of the Apes. And when I say soft spot, I am not saying it's good. I just find Mark Wahlberg being confused to be quite compelling. So put him in a situation where he has to play confused, and I'm like, look at Mark Wahlberg go. It's great because the guy can act. He can.
Yeah,
he just doesn't seem to act in those movies.
Yeah, like, this is an interesting swap that we now have, because you're just like, you're very soft on the Godzilla films, and I'm just like, you're very soft on the Mark Wahlberg kind of thing. Helen Bonham Carter is also in that film. She plays the lead ape in that one as well. The kind of historical.
Well, who directed it, Paul?
I wonder how she got her gig. Though Helen Bonham Carter was very good in that film. So, like,
she's an incredible actress. Oh, I don't think she just got the gig, but there was a while there where I thought he couldn't make a film without forcing her to be in it. And she's. Let me put it this way: I'm more of a Bonham Carter fan than I am of no, I'm not going to pick on Beetlejuice. I don't want any fights. Actually, let's move on before anybody kills me.
But yeah, no, you're like, it's always a consistent, interesting kind of thing, because, like, yeah, the first one is essentially just the breaking of the chains. It's the rise of a group of people, which is in this case apes, following a leader who has slowly become self-aware. Dawn is kind of the solidifying of what their values will become. Kind of thing. Like, you have essentially the you have the struggles between the two kind of, I guess, sides of their people, which is revenge in a sense. Um, do they want to essentially continue the cycle of violence, as they were kind of I guess subjected to, or the Caesar kind of way, which is kind of more like, let's build our community up and focus on us kind of thing. You know, as long as we kind of focus on ourselves, and that kind of way, it's a little bit better. So, and then obviously war goes into further kind of like further conflicts of a dying kind of community, I guess, in the sense of like us.
So, question is, Paul, I'm sorry, we get a little bit of breakup on my side. So, my big question to you then, because I guess we're heading home on this one, but why? And I put this to the chat and everybody in the future comments. The one thing I want to understand most is not whether you love the movies, whether you hate the movies, where you rate them, whether or not it's the best trilogy or, best franchise of all time. Why do you think something that is so universally agreed to be quite good quality, enjoyable, has been watched by people, that people have a feeling on it? Have you got me?
I got you a little bit break up there, so if you just repeated
Okay.
a little bit part there.
Okay, so the big question to everyone is, why is this the most successful and well liked, but why is it the most overlooked franchise? What do you think it is about it that makes people not talk about the Apes movies from one to the next, but yet still go out and see them?
Yeah, what is the universal appeal to these movies, kind of thing? Is it the theme? Is it just the overall kind of like well-rounded kind of production of it, or is there something deeper? Is it just they've just found the mark with these films,
But
and just continue to kind of
crucially,
do it?
why don't people ever talk about them afterwards? Why don't they have any sort of fandom that follows them, let's say, or at least because they permeate pop culture, yet not in the traditional kind of successful franchise sort of way.
Yeah, like it is.
I'll give you my guess as to why, Paul. I think it's not as cool. It's very hard to be cool about apes. Whereas, you got the John Wick coolness factor. You got the nostalgia factor for something else. You've got the, it doesn't have that. Well, I can talk about this casually without actually it turning into a conversation about what it is to be human.
Yeah, like that's the interesting part. Is it just that um there's certain elements of kind of freshness with some of the other ones that the where the Ape franchise just doesn't have it, kind of thing. Is it just, or is it, for me, is this the other question that I would have is it that the franchise, the original franchise, is so out of the zeitgeist kind of thing that like these are not, so it's kind of like, oh yeah, the ape Planet of the Apes movies, kind of thing. It's just kind of, drawn to it. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, to the audience, yeah, comments down below. What you think is the reason for, I guess, the kind of like perspective of essentially that these are really really good movies, but yet they're not brought up in in conversation as much as, like, some of the other franchises which have, not great which goes entries. Is it that their own success is their own downfall, in the sense that they are just consistently good, so no one talks about them, kind of thing? But let us know then in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and get onto our socials. It is Heroes Out Tube on Twitter, and I think on Instagram as well. Where you can contact us about any and obviously in the comments, any kind of shows that you want us to do, or any commentary that you also want us to talk about. Any closing
I
remarks?
hate to say it, there is only one way we can close out this episode, and it's gonna have to go all the way back to Charlton at the end. Damn you all, you blew it to hell. I was kind of hoping you were going to join in there, but yeah,
I was gonna be like, get your hands off me, you damn dirty apes.
Even better, even better.
But
yeah. So I think on the Charlton Heston most quotable lines, we should end with, "I've been Patrick,
and I've been Paul.
and we've been Heroes Out." Go watch an Apes movie, everybody. They're better than you remember.
Good. See you later, guys.